What's up, everybody? I am back with part 6 of what is religion, and I would love to go further with this with you guys. So we're going to touch on theology. We're utilizing Britannica.com/topic/theology and the nature of theology within religion, how it has come about. So let's just get into that, because it's going to help us in the definition of really understanding religion, really understanding its purpose, its placement, and how it affects people's livelihood. So this is same day. I think you guys saw me earlier, and your girl is trying to hydrate as well. So don't mind me of drinking, and it's in between water and some other drinks. So I will be getting up from time to time. All right, here we go. Nature of theology is the paragraph that I'm at. The concept of theology that is applicable as a science in all religions, and that is therefore neutral, is difficult to distill and determine. The problem lies in the fact that whereas theology as a concept had its origins in the tradition of the ancient Greeks, it obtained its content and method only within Christianity. Thus, theology, because of its particular Christian profile, is not readily transferable in its narrow sense to any other religion. In its broader thematic concerns, however, theology as a subject matter is germane to other religions. So basically, like, when people want to talk about, oh, let's get to the theology, we really can't do that, right? Because the theology, the method, the content of it is only coming from Christianity. This is only developed in Christianity. So you can't place methods and content from Christianity and put it on to, say, another religion, another culture, and so forth, another spiritual system, and so forth. It doesn't work. So theology gets kicked out. You can't do that. That's an unfair and biased perspective. Now, if you want to do generalizations, like a broader subject matter, which doesn't have like particulars for that, like it's just a general topic, then maybe you can utilize theology in that perspective. So it's really good to understand, because that's important, right? So let's just go a bit further. The Greek philosopher Plato, with whom the concept emerges for the first time, associated with the term theology a polemical intention, as did his pupil Aristotle. For Plato, theology described the mythical, which he allowed may have a temporary pedagogical significance that is beneficial to the state, but is to be cleansed from all offensive and abstruse elements with the help of political legislation. Here we go. This identification of theology and mythology also remained customary in the later Greek thought. In contrast to philosophers, theologians, example 8th century BCE Greek poet Hesiod and Homer, the cultic servants of the oracle at Delphi, and the rhetoricians of the Roman cult of emperor worship, testified to and proclaimed that which they viewed as divine. Theology thus became significant as the means of proclaiming the gods, of confessing to them and of teaching and quote unquote preaching this confession. Okay, so in this practice of theology by the Greeks lies the prefiguration of what later would be known as theology in the history of Christianity. In spite of all the contradictions and nuances that were to emerge in the understanding of this concept in various Christian confessions and schools of thought, a formal criterion remains constant. Here it is. Theology is the attempt of adherents of a faith to represent their statements of belief consistently, to explicate them out of the basis or fundamentals of their faith, and to assign to such statements their specific place within the context of all other worldly relations, example, nature, history, and spiritual processes, example, reason and logic. Okay, that is how it is utilized. And so we're understanding from the philosopher Plato and how it trickled down into becoming the basis of Christianity, and how it was used to really, I guess, make a presentation of what aspects of that could be within the umbrella of Christianity. We got it? All right. So now that we're on that part, let's go into the breakdown. Well, one of the breakdowns. Let me go here. So according to Christianity, what is religion? In the ESV translation of the Bible, the term religion appears only 5 times. 5 times, guys. 5 times. And I'm going to lay it out to you. By itself, it is a neutral term. It can refer to Jewish Christian faith, Acts 25, verse 19. Judaism, Acts 26, verse 5. Look at that. You see where I'm going. Jewish Christian faith, you will know Acts 25, verse 19. Judaism, you will know Acts 26, verse 5. Self-made religion, Colossians 2, verse 23. Or failure to tame the tongue, James chapter 1, verse 26. But religion that is acceptable to God is, quote unquote, to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained from the world. That's in James 1:27. You guys get what I'm saying here, right? This is how in the Bible it looks at the terminology. Again, man-made religion. Sorry, guys. I'm getting it. Obviously, we're going to go into another part 2 part. So, hang with me here. Part 7, I mean. It is particularly difficult to define religion since there is no one universally accepted definition. Okay? So if the Bible itself, which I'm utilizing the Bible in this aspect because people have taken it to be the Word of God. So we're going to utilize this as the Word of God. God itself only utilized it in the Bible 5 times, with the understanding that we know that the Bible was written by man. Okay, we really need to, because God, based on how God is viewed in Christianity, that a particular figure is the one that came down, pen and paper or verbal to paper, and wrote, which is obviously imagination. All right, but based on man, just in one book, right, in its Bible, Acts, you have 2 types of religion described. Colossians describe another one. James describes 2 different aspects. So there's not one particular definition. There isn't, and there can never be, because that also shows that this religion is not the only one. let's go into say to Syria.